My sister and I unexpectedly obtained two systems. One was a 100x magnification system, and the other was a 100x reduction system. My sister happily chose the 100x reduction, leaving me with the remaining option. Little did we know, 3 days later, a torrential apocalypse struck, trapping everyone at home with no way to move, and resources became the biggest issue. I managed to stretch our limited supplies by relying on the amplification system, living frugally, and ultimately pulled through the crisis together with my sister. Unexpectedly, after the heavy rain ended, my sister pushed me off the high-rise building. If you hadn't taken my amplification system, I could have used it to enlarge food and save Brother Lou's family. You're good in every way, sister, except for being too selfish. Reborn once again. When my sister chose the amplification system before I could, I knew she had also been reborn. I laughed. Using the shrinking system to shrink enough food to last me 5 years, while also shrinking myself. Thus, I vanished from everyone's sight. Please choose your respective systems. Why does this line and this scene feel so familiar? My mind was still in a daze. Didn't I just get pushed off the building by my sister? It took me a while to snap out of the overwhelming sense of weightlessness. My sister also froze for a moment before immediately choosing, I want to amplify the system. Understood, the system is now bound to you. My sister gave me a smug glance, her eyes brimming with unconcealed joy. I finally understood. I had been reborn to the day when my sister and I were choosing our systems. I sneered inwardly, since you love your brother Lou so much and despise me, the sister who saved your life, to the core, then this time, I won't interfere with you anymore. Watching my overjoyed sister, I thought, then I'll choose the mini system, okay? The system is now bound to you. Excited about her new system, the sister couldn't wait to try it out. She casually enlarged a nearby cup by 100 times. The small cup instantly transformed into a gigantic one. Wow, it's real. The enlargement system is really mine now. I watched my sister coldly. This was the sister I had desperately protected. In my past life, the apocalyptic rainstorm arrived suddenly, trapping everyone at home with scarce supplies. Our household still had a few boxes of instant noodles and bread, which I magnified using the amplification system, allowing us to barely survive the 5-year rainstorm. My sister's childhood friend, Lu Xing, lived right across from us. She begged me to help his family amplify their food, but I refused, wary of the unpredictable nature of people in such dire times. Without my help, the Lu family naturally couldn't last 5 years and starved to death long ago. I survived the apocalypse, only to die at the hands of the sister I worked so hard to protect. How ironic. Sister, the enlargement system is mine now. Don't you feel envious? After all, I can enlarge anything I want, while your shrinking system seems pretty useless. My sister seemed to be testing whether I had been reborn, her eyes still carrying a hint of wariness. I let out a sigh of relief and forced a casual smile. What's the difference? It's just a system. If you like it, take it. I don't mind either way. Seeing that I had no interest in the amplification system whatsoever, my younger sister finally relaxed and smiled. I knew that this time, my sister would definitely go to save her childhood sweetheart's family, and once people learned about this system, she would never be safe in the apocalypse. Everyone would covet this system. My younger sister excitedly ran out of the house and knocked on Lu Xing's door. Lu Xing was puzzled. Long Jia, what brings you here? My sister immediately affectionately linked arms with Lu Xing, ignoring the look of disdain on his face, and said with a smile, Brother Lu, let's go inside to talk. As soon as the door across the way closed, I immediately opened my phone to check the date, 14th. There are only 3 days left before the heavy rain arrives. There's still time. I immediately drove to the nearby supermarket and swept through all the food, drinks, and supplies. Instant noodles, bread, and other long-lasting foods, as well as daily necessities like toilet paper, combs, mirrors, blankets, and pillows. I also bought rice flour and seeds for various vegetables, to ensure I always have meat to eat. I even purchased a batch of baby chicks. I also went to the furniture store and picked out a complete set of furniture for myself. I'm preparing to create a brand new little home for myself. My apartment is on a high floor, so even during the continuous heavy rain in my past life, it never posed a threat to me. I don't plan to leave my house, but rather, I intend to live in a different way. I went on a crazy shopping spree until I completely emptied my bank account. In contrast, my sister showed no panic or preparation despite knowing the storm was coming. My sister knew her amplification system could enlarge food, so she wasn't worried at all. In fact, she was somewhat looking forward to it. Of course I know what my sister is looking forward to. She hopes to step up and save her childhood friend Lushing's family during the food shortage, then make him fall for her. I always thought she just had a crush on Lushing, but I never expected her to be such a hopeless romantic. When my sister returned home in the evening, her eyes were filled with pink bubbles, as if she were already diving in the sea of love with Lushing. Sis, do you think if I save Lushing's family, if I can save them, do you think he'll fall in love with me? My younger sister looked blissful, with a hint of shyness. I said coldly, no, impossible. Brother Lou will definitely like me. Sister, tell me the truth. Do you like Brother Lou? But you're 2 years older than him, so don't even think about him. I ignored my sister's words and simply lowered my head to browse online shopping for the things I needed. I've already been killed once by my sister, and I absolutely won't let such a thing happen a second time. This time, you can die by yourself. Sis, do you have any money left? Lend me a few thousand, will you? I want to buy some food. My sister was grinning, but I kept a cold face. No, I just bought a fridge and spent all my money. My sister immediately let out a sharp scream. Why did you buy a refrigerator? I frowned. I wanted to replace the old one. Is that not allowed? Why are you reacting so strongly? Realizing she had overreacted, my sister quickly composed herself and said with a smile, no, I was just curious. Hee, sis, I remember you still had some food in your room, right? I've already taken it to give to the elderly living alone in our neighborhood. After all, life isn't easy for them. You're not mad, are you? My sister smiled brightly, as if waiting for me to praise her kindness. I never expected that after my sister's rebirth. Not only had she obtained the magnification system she desired, but she also handed over my last remaining supplies to someone else. This is clearly an attempt to push me to my death. If I hadn't been reborn and didn't have a system, I definitely wouldn't survive this apocalyptic rainstorm. Watching my sister's radiant smile, my disgust for her only grew stronger. I consider myself to have been very good to my younger sister. When our parents passed away during our childhood, I, as the elder sister, took on their responsibilities, dropping out of school early to support her education. Even when her grades were poor, I never blamed her. Her living expenses were always significantly higher than those of her peers, all of which I earned through hard work. Later, when my sister failed to get into university, I had already managed to buy an apartment in the city through my own efforts, so I brought her to live with me. Little did I know that living across from us was Lu Xing, my younger sister's childhood sweetheart. The two of them played together often as kids, but later Lu Xing's family was relocated due to demolition and received a hefty compensation, so they moved away from the village. Yet, the moment my sister laid eyes on the handsome Lu Xing, she immediately developed feelings for him and began relentlessly pursuing him, even during the apocalyptic rainstorm, when I refused to help his family. My sister took advantage of my absence and secretly gave away a third of our supplies to Lu Xing's household. I had no choice but to lock the door tightly to prevent others from coming to steal supplies. So in my sister's eyes, I'm not even as important as a man who has done nothing for her. I was utterly disappointed in my sister. It's fine. My sister came over with a smile and linked her arm with mine. Hee, you're the best, sis. I knew you wouldn't be mad at me over such a small thing. I pried her arms open. I'm a bit tired. I'm going back to sleep now. You should get some rest too. I turned and hid in my own room, starting to plan for finding a place to stay. I also bought wind power equipment, ensuring I'd have a steady supply of electricity even during storms. I've already prepared everything I need. Now I just need to wait quietly for the remaining time. My sister believes she has an amplification system, so she's not worried at all. She secretly used her pocket money to buy hundreds of dollars worth of food and locked it in her room, as if afraid I might steal from her. I simply abandoned the house I had bought. If I continued hiding in this house, no matter how careful I was, they might still find me. So I set my sights on another place. That would be another hidden room in my bedroom. This was a small room I specifically created during the house renovation, and I never told my sister about this place. The room isn't large, just about the width of a small bathroom, but for my shrunken self, It's a safe haven. The room switch can only be operated through my mobile device, so I'm not at all worried about my sister discovering it. Even if she does, she wouldn't be able to open it. Besides, I even drove to a wilderness over 10 kilometers away and used the shrinking system to shrink a pile of soil. This way, I'll be able to use the soil and seeds to grow vegetables and become self-sufficient. I also shrunk several trees and took them all back with me. In the blink of an eye, all the food and furniture I ordered had arrived. At this point, there was only one day left before the heavy rain would come. I chose the delivery address to be the rural house where I used to live. That village had long been deserted, with hardly anyone living there anymore. The house was filled with furniture, appliances, food, and all sorts of little things, taking advantage of the moment when no one was around. I used the shrinking system to shrink everything and packed it all into a box I had prepared earlier. In the end, after a moment of hesitation, I decided to shrink my small bungalow and take it with me as well. Though a bit old, with some renovation, it would still be livable. Taking advantage of the quiet night, I drove home overnight again and stored all these things in the secret room. My sister has been unusually excited these days, believing she has made all the necessary preparations. So she didn't pay any attention to my whereabouts at all. I had already set up an air filtration system in the secret room, so even if I lived there for several years, I wouldn't have to worry about running out of oxygen. I didn't shrink the 5 bottles of mineral water but instead opened them and poured the water into a small tank to serve as a future water source. There are electric lights installed inside, and I can control the switches with my own phone. After a whole night of my careful arrangement, the secret room has completely turned into a tiny farm. The super tiny chicks chirping is barely noticeable as they bury their heads in the haystack hunting for worms. Outside the farm is my small house, fully equipped with all kinds of household appliances. Now I can finally relax and quietly wait for the storm to come. On the last half day, my sister ran to Lushing's house again. Lushing's family didn't seem to like her. But my sister didn't care about their opinions and kept sneaking into Lushing's room. More than once, I heard Lushing's mother complaining to the aunties downstairs. The little girl across the hall has no shame at all. At her age, she still runs into my son's room every day. Utterly disgraceful. Right away, an older woman teased her. Seems like she's got her eyes on your son. You might be getting a daughter-in-law soon. Lushing's mother immediately retorted, "Nonsense, don't you know? She didn't even get into college, and now in her 20s, she doesn't have a proper job. She just lazes around at home, living off her sister. That penniless wretch thinks she can marry my son. No way. My son is tall, handsome, and has a good job. How could someone like her ever measure up? That's not." I remained silent, pretending not to hear anything. There was still an hour before the storm arrived, so I called my younger sister. "Hello, sis, what's up?" My voice carried no emotion as I said, "Something came up at the company. I'm working overtime tonight and won't be coming back." My younger sister seemed to hesitate for a moment, but in the end, she didn't remind me of anything, only saying, "All right, then I'll eat by myself tonight." Hang up the call. As expected, she wouldn't remind me to be careful either. Anyway, the only reason I called was to create a diversion, to make her think I had already left home. Then I controlled my phone to open the secret compartment in the bedroom and squeezed myself inside, carefully closing the door behind me. Once again, I activated the shrinking system, but this time it wasn't an object being shrunk. It was me. After a dizzying whirl, I was completely miniaturized, and what had been a cramped secret space now felt incredibly vast. The reason I dared to risk shrinking myself was that in my previous life, I had noticed objects enlarged by the magnification system miraculously return to their original size after the heavy rain stopped, so I guess the shrinking system works the same way. It will deactivate after the heavy rain stops, returning things to their original size. Looking at the land, the green trees, the chicks, and the house, my heart felt exceptionally fulfilled. Now, I no longer have to worry about the heavy rain. While my sister was away from home, I installed hidden cameras inside the house and along the corridor outside the door. This way, I can monitor every move inside and outside the house through the video feed on my phone. Just to be safe, I even installed one outside Lushang's house. This surveillance camera is of excellent quality, not only providing clear images but also allowing even the slightest sounds to be heard distinctly. After completing these tasks, I slipped my phone into my pants pocket, hoisted the hoe onto my shoulder, and walked to the field, where I began tilling the soil with great care. Once the land was plowed, I scattered the seeds, added some fertilizer, and watered the area. A flock of chicks gathered around my feet, pecking at them. I waved my hand to shoo them away, then opened a bag of chicken feed to feed them. I learned from my phone that the heavy rain has already started. But no one realized it wouldn't stop. Many people are complaining on social media that the rain is too heavy to work. I'm now cut off from the world, and the only things I can use to contact the outside are this phone and my computer tablet. Several days have passed, and the heavy rain still hasn't stopped, causing significant difficulties for the city's transportation. My sister wasn't surprised by my disappearance. She probably thought I had died in the flood these past few days. I've been busy plowing, planting vegetables, and feeding chickens on my small farm. The only thing I have to worry about is the chicks constantly stealing and eating my vegetable sprouts. With nothing else to do, I turned on the surveillance camera and saw that my sister had actually brought Lushing into my house. They were sitting in the living room, with a smug smile on my sister's face. "Brother Lou, do you still have food at home?" Lu Xing looked somewhat annoyed. "Not much left. I should have stocked up more. Now the first floor is almost flooded, and I can't get out at all." Lu Xing then turned to his sister. "Jia, do you still have food at home? Can you share some with me? I have my parents and younger sister at home, and the little food we have isn't enough for all of us." His sister playfully punched his chest and then drew circles on it coquettishly. The younger sister clung to Lu Xing, whispering into his ear, "How is that possible? There's such a thing." Lu Xing suddenly stood up, his face filled with disbelief. "Of course there is. If you don't believe me, look." My sister immediately used the magnification system to enlarge an apple on the table, which instantly grew in size and pressed heavily onto the table. Lu Xing's expression shifted from initial disbelief to overwhelming joy, and he quickly grasped his sister's shoulders. "Jia, thank goodness you're here. Could you please enlarge all the food in our house?" The sister nodded shyly. "Okay, Brother Lu, but I have a small request." Lu Xing hesitated almost not at all. "You speak. You know I like you, right, Brother Lu? Since I can save your whole family, could you maybe like me too?" The younger sister shyly covered her eyes, completely unaware of the complex and somewhat disgusted expression on Lu Xing's face. Lu Xing then immediately switched to a tender, affectionate demeanor and took the younger sister's hand. "What nonsense are you talking about? Haven't we been together all along? You know, we were childhood sweethearts, and of course I like you now too. Once the storm is over, I'll marry you." The younger sister happily wrapped her arms around Lu Xing's neck. "That's great. I knew you liked me too, Brother Lu. My sister said you wouldn't like me, but I think she was just jealous." "Then, what about your sister?" the younger sister said carelessly. "Oh, her. She said she was going to work overtime, with the storm lasting this long. She's probably already drowned by now." A sly grin flashed across Lu Xing's face as he coaxed his younger sister into bringing out all the supplies from her room. Watching the surveillance footage, my heart was filled with mixed emotions. How did I end up raising such a foolish sister? Stupidity is one thing, but she's also so malicious. It's as if she can't wait for her older sister to die. But what does this have to do with me? After all, no one could possibly know I'm hiding here. I just need to live my little life in peace. I went back into the house and cooked myself a hot pot meal, then grabbed a drink from the fridge and happily started enjoying my dinner. Not only did I eat to my heart's content, but I also took photos of the delicious food and posted them on my social media. The caption read, "While a storm rages outside, enjoying hot pot at home feels absolutely amazing." I didn't expect my younger sister to immediately comment on my WeChat moments. "Sis, where are you?" Not satisfied with just commenting on my moments, she then sent me several messages on WeChat. "Sis, it's raining so heavily outside. Are you okay? Sis, where are you? Still having hot pot? I wanna eat too. Sis, can you tell me where you are? It's pouring rain and I can't go out. Can you bring me some food?" I didn't respond to any of her questions. Just took another photo of the drink I was having and sent it to her. "The drink's delicious. And the hot pot is steaming hot. So good." My younger sister immediately called me back. "Sis, how can you still have hot pot? Can you bring some back for me? I've been eating bread for days. Sis, hungry, food. although that's what my sister said. I could sense another layer of meaning in her urgent tone. How come you can still eat so well during this apocalyptic rainstorm? I laughed, looked up around me. It was completely quiet, entirely unaffected by the storm outside. I'm still at the office. The company treated us to hot pot. The rain is too heavy. I can't go back. Find something to eat at home. Seeing this, my younger sister immediately started acting spoiled with me like before. No way, sis, the bread at home is so gross. I want hot pot too. I refused right away. No, she wanted to say something more, but I hung up the phone. I checked the surveillance footage and, sure enough, saw my sister raging at her phone. No longer the picture of a well-behaved little sister. It must have been exhausting for her to play the obedient girl all these years. I then opened my tablet to start binge-watching. I had stored hundreds of novels, anime, and TV shows on it, enough to keep me entertained during boring days. After eating and drinking to my heart's content, I lay down on the bed and started to laze around. I casually picked up my phone, logged into the surveillance app, and switched to the camera outside Lu Xing's house. Soon after, I heard the voices of Lu Xing and his sister. Jia is really amazing, isn't she? Now our family won't have to worry about food and drink. We've really struck gold. This is the voice of Lu Xing's mother. It seems their family already knows about the younger sister possessing the amplification system. The younger sister's voice carried a hint of pride. Auntie, you flatter me. Being able to use this system to save your family was also my wish. After all, we're going to become family soon. The air seemed to suddenly grow quiet. Lu Xing's parents quickly chimed in to keep her happy. Of course, if it weren't for Jia, how could we have gotten so much food? It's Lu Xing's blessing to be with you. I always said you're such a delightful girl. The younger sister was so overwhelmed by their flattery that she lost all sense of reality. I sneered and turned off the surveillance. I knew exactly what kind of people Lu Xing's whole family was. Back when they first received the demolition compensation, they immediately started looking down on everyone in the village, even driving away all their former relatives and friends with their own harsh words. They always assumed others approached them just for that demolition money. Many villagers say they've become too arrogant, even refusing the village chief a drink of water when he passed by their house. How could such people possibly treat my sister with genuine kindness? And that Lu Xing, I've noticed his haughty attitude since childhood. He's made many disparaging remarks about my sister, both openly and behind her back, never truly respecting her from the start. But there's no way I can intervene now, especially since I've been shrunk to 1/100th of my size. It wasn't long before my sister called. Her voice on the other end of the line was full of pride. Big sister, I have good news to tell you. I'm already with Lu Xing. Oh, my tone was so indifferent it was as if she had just told me it was raining again today. I said while feeding the chickens, "What did you call me for?" The chicks have grown quite a bit, but they're still chirping noisily, constantly fighting over the food. Sis, why do I hear chickens on your end? Oh, because I'm feeding the chickens. My sister was immediately dumbfounded, with such heavy rain pouring down. Where did you get the chicken from? I didn't answer her question directly, only saying, raised it. The green vegetables and eggplants I had sown earlier had already sprouted from the soil. From time to time, I had to go outside to weed and water them. The meat I bought earlier is all stored in the freezer, enough to last me a long time. My sister clicked her tongue. Sis, where on earth are you? How come you can have hot pot and raised chickens there? Hasn't the heavy rain affected your place at all? No, there's no way my sister could imagine that I haven't gone anywhere and am just staying in my own bedroom, just a wall apart. Yet it's two completely different worlds. That's great. The heavy rain hasn't affected you there, sister. Quickly tell me where you are. I'll bring Lu Xing and the others over. After all, we'll be family soon anyway. My voice carried a hint of mockery. Find it yourself then. If you can locate me, come ahead. What do you mean by that? Don't want us to come? My elder sister has always been at her younger sister's beck and call since childhood, but this is the first time she's spoken to her in such a sarcastic tone. I kicked aside a chick blocking my path and strode back to the house from the farmland. My fridge is stocked with plenty of pre-made meals, including pre-made pizza, steamed buns, mantou, dumplings, and more. I turned on the electric fan again and took out the freshly baked pizza from the microwave. The pizza turned golden and looked deliciously soft after being reheated, so I casually snapped a photo and sent it to my sister. "Aw, how come you still have pizza there, sis? Tell me where you are right now. You're so selfish. I'm here munching on dry bread and instant noodles, and you're over there eating pizza." My sister's tone was both urgent and slightly whiny, desperately trying to get my location out of me. I took a big bite of the stretchy cheese, chewed twice, and just said, "Wow, wow, wow, this pizza is so good. The cheese is even stretchy." Sis, no matter how good things are where you are, your food supply is limited. What use is your shrinking system? My enlarging system can multiply your food. It'll last you for years without any problem. Just tell me where you are, and I'll come find you. When has she ever wanted to come find me? She just can't stand seeing me doing well. I repeated the same line. If you can find me, then come. With that, I hung up the phone and watched my sister throw a furious tantrum on the surveillance feed, smashing everything in my room. It wasn't long before the news that my younger sister possessed an amplification system spread throughout the entire neighborhood. As for who leaked this information, the answer was obvious without saying. My sister's door was knocked on repeatedly, with everyone bringing their last remaining food to her, hoping she could help them amplify their supplies. At first, my sister was at a loss and even considered pretending she didn't have the system to get by. To my surprise, the Liu family across the street immediately rushed out, with Mr. and Mrs. Liu blocking the person seeking help. Hey, Jia is practically our future daughter-in-law. If you want to use the system, you'll need our family's permission. Using the system drains Jia's energy significantly. You'll have to pay. Long Jia was initially annoyed that Mr. and Mrs. Liu had revealed her possession of the system to others, but she couldn't help laughing when she heard their reasoning. "That's right, Jia is my girlfriend. If you want her to do something, you'll have to pay." Lu Xing openly wrapped his arm around his sister's waist, while she shyly nestled into his embrace, and so, Lu Xing's family began their business venture, all thanks to his sister. Anyone who asked the sister to use the amplification system had to pay Lu Xing 2,000 yuan. 2,000 yuan wasn't cheap, but at the end of the torrential rains, supplies were scarce for everyone. And money couldn't even buy food anymore. This seems like a win-win deal. But from the surveillance, I've noticed that more and more people are coming to my sister to use the system, and they're doing so increasingly frequently. What does that mean? It means they also believe that as long as my sister has the amplification system, they'll never starve. But they're overlooking one thing: the system can amplify food, but only if you have food to begin with. The system can only be used once on the same item. There's no possibility of eating half, saving the other half, and continuing to use the system to enlarge it, thereby infinitely reproducing food. 3 full years passed, and not a single person in the neighborhood starved to death, all thanks to my sister's enlargement system. As a result, everyone began to let their guard down, indulging in unrestrained eating, drinking, and merrymaking. But by the end of the 3rd year, the crisis finally emerged. The food in everyone's home had already run out, and even after being amplified by my sister's system, it still wasn't enough to eat. Resources were extremely limited, and the amplification system no longer provided any advantage, so the neighborhood began to descend into chaos. Fights and arguments over supplies broke out everywhere. My sister had long since moved into Lu Xing's home, becoming part of their family, through eavesdropping on the surveillance. I learned that Lu Xing's family was also aware that fewer and fewer people were coming to seek out his sister to use the amplification system, making it increasingly difficult to earn money from this business. However, his sister continued to eat their food and live in their home, which had already stirred dissatisfaction among them. They discussed finding an excuse to drive her away. As a result, Lu Xing turned around and broke up with his sister, bluntly saying, "I don't love you anymore." My sister cried and screamed desperately, but the whole family threw her out. In this apocalyptic storm, no one cares who my sister loves. Everyone only looks out for their own interests. After crying and making a scene at their doorstep for a full day and night, my sister had no choice but to slink back to my home in disgrace. But by then, the house had already been emptied by the Liu family. Even the food my sister had stockpiled was all moved to their place. Now this house is just an empty shell. Although my sister went to make a scene outside their house, in the end, all she got was their curses. There was no way they would return the food. my sister finally began to panic, and what was I doing at this moment? I live a leisurely little life on my small farm. When I'm hungry, I pick some greens and stir-fry them with meat. If I don't feel like cooking, I just grab some pre-made food from the fridge and quickly fry it up. When I have free time, I can even mix myself a drink. The first thing I do every morning is feed the chickens, then make myself breakfast, and finally go to the farm to check on the vast fields of greens, potatoes, eggplants, tomatoes, corn, and more that I've planted. If you feel sleepy at noon, take a nap. After waking up, binge-watch dramas or anime, and casually eat and drink whatever you like. The only slightly challenging part is that there are no insects in this place, so I have to pollinate the fruits and vegetables one by one myself. But these are all minor issues. After 3 years without any news from me, my sister tentatively called again. She probably thought I was already dead, never expecting that I would answer the call. "Sis, you're alive. That's great. I thought you had been killed by the storm." I munched on a cucumber while watching a drama on my tablet. "Why did you call me?" My sister's voice carried a hint of sobbing. "Sis, you have no idea how Lu Xing and his family treated me. They used my amplification system to make money, and now that no one comes to me for the system anymore, they just kicked me out of the house. Oh, Lu Xing clearly promised to marry me, but now he wants to break up. His whole family is just a bunch of money-grubbing scoundrels. They've ruined me, and now there's nothing left to eat at home. Oh. I took another bite of the cucumber, the sound of chewing crisp and clear. My sister immediately started playing the victim. "Sis, can you come pick me up right away? I'll really starve to death without food." "You wouldn't want to see your only little sister starve, would you, sis?" My voice remained calm. "Not happening." My sister seemed to sense something was off, her voice involuntarily rising like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. "Why don't you care about me at all, sis? You weren't like this before." My sister immediately shouted, "Have you also been reborn?" It was only then that I let out a light laugh. "Yeah. What about it? If you were reborn too, why didn't you tell me? You must know what kind of people Lu Xing and the others are, right? Why didn't you tell me anything? How can you be so selfish?" Without saying more, I simply sent her a video. In the video, my fruits and vegetables are thriving, a flock of chickens is running around everywhere, the house is decorated warmly inside, and the fridge is full of food and snacks. It looks completely untouched by the heavy rain. As if staying in another world, as soon as the video was sent, my sister immediately flew into a rage. "How can you be so selfish? Do you know how much I'm suffering right now? Hurry up and come take me away." "Selfish? Weren't you selfish when you pushed me off the building in our past life? Now that you've been reborn and clearly know about the storm, you never once told me. How is that not selfish?" My younger sister seemed to take all my kindness for granted, never once considering how she should repay me. "I'm not some pushover either. Since you don't see me as family, there's no need for me to save you again. Sis, I must have been possessed by a ghost to be so infatuated with that Lu Xing. You can't give up on me. I'm your only sister. If I starve to death, you'll have no family left." I casually remarked. "Oh, then just die. What's it to me?" With that, I hung up the phone, already picturing how furious my sister must be on the other end. Through the surveillance, I could see my younger sister going crazy and smashing things inside the house all day, especially in my bedroom where everything was completely destroyed. But smashing things couldn't fill her stomach, and no matter how much my sister vented, it was useless. One day, I noticed my sister had brought back some bread, and through the outdoor surveillance, I found out she had stolen it from Lu Xing's house. The entire Lu Xing family had gone out, leaving only their 6-year-old daughter behind. The younger sister tricked her into opening the door and then stole all the food from their house. Seeing this scene in the surveillance footage, I couldn't help but burst out laughing. What a classic case of dog-eat-dog, truly spectacular. It nearly killed me with laughter. Sure enough, when the Lu family returned home and found all their food gone, they flew into a rage, kicking and stomping at my front door while hurling abuse. My sister remained inside like a turtle retracting into its shell, refusing to come out. My front door is extremely sturdy. I specifically chose the most impact-resistant model during renovation, so even though the Lu family spent 3 full days and nights beating and cursing outside my door, They posed absolutely no threat to my sister inside. Unexpectedly, at this moment, Lushing shamelessly turned to his sister again and said, "Jia, don't be upset anymore. If you return the food to us, we'll get back together, okay? Everything I said before was just out of anger. I still love you, really. We even made plans to get married, don't you remember? Separated by a door." Lushing showered his sister inside with all kinds of sweet talk. At first, his sister hesitated. But to her surprise, for 2 whole days, Lushing kept apologizing to her in every possible way, promising that he would never act so recklessly again. My sister's hand was on the doorknob, still unable to suppress a smile. I just knew my sister was about to face another misfortune. What happened next was almost too painful to watch. As soon as she opened the door, Lu Jing, who was hiding outside, struck her with an elbow, sending her sprawling to the ground. In the end, all she could do was clutch her forehead in pain, helplessly watching as their family once again carried away all the food. Before leaving, Liu Xing's father viciously kicked his sister in the head. "Pa, shameless slut, how dare you think of marrying my son, over my dead body? Who would have thought a girl like you could be so wicked, even stealing from me?" His sister lay motionless on the ground, her voice faint. "But that was my food to begin with. Bah! Meeting you was the worst luck of my life." Lu Xing also kicked his sister, who was blocking the doorway, aside and moved all the food back to his own home. His sister lay lifeless at the doorstep for 2 days before finally regaining enough strength to stand up. She then crouched by the door, hugging her knees, and cried for a long time. Even if she had the amplification system now, it would be of no use. She no longer had any food left. Just when she was at her most desperate, she called me again. As soon as the call connected, my younger sister started crying. She only spoke after she had cried her fill. "Sis," sob, "I was bullied, I was beaten so badly, my body hurts so much." "Sis," sob, "can you come save me? I'm really in so much pain, and I'm so hungry too. Did they break my bones?" Sob, "In the past, I would have felt heartbroken for my sister, wishing I could bear all her suffering in her place. But now, listening to her tearful plea, I remained unmoved. You deserve it." I hung up the phone and turned to the field to pick corn. Day after day passed, and my sister lay at the doorstep, her body growing increasingly thin. During that time, many people passed by and forced her to use the magnification system to enlarge food. Though reluctant, after being slapped a few times, she had no choice but to comply. Until the last moment of her life, she crawled to Lu Xing's doorstep, tilted her head, and died forever. As soon as Lu Xing opened the door, he found his already somewhat decomposed sister and kicked her away in disgust, showing no concern for her life or death. Another 2 years passed, and the heavy rain had already flooded the lower floors of the building. But just as I had foreseen in my previous life, it did not threaten our floor. Just a few months before the heavy rain was about to end, Lu Xing's family was tragically wiped out. Their family had already had a bad reputation in the neighborhood, and after making such a fortune from their sister's desperate actions, many people had long held a grudge against them. In the final months after the rainstorm, everyone's food supplies had run out, but someone in the homeowners group spread the word that Lu Xing's family still had plenty to eat. Many people, armed and in groups, gathered outside their house, smashing and shouting, demanding they hand over the food. Not only did Lu Xing and his family refuse, but they also hurled insults at the people outside, completely enraging them. Several groups of people had conspired together, taking turns to smash their front door, the sound of pounding never ceasing day and night. Finally, after 4 days, the Lu family's front door was completely shattered. All the food in their home was also looted clean, leaving the family sitting on the floor, wailing in despair. Without food, they simply couldn't survive the last few months. The neighborhood was in complete chaos, with bodies strewn everywhere and the sounds of crying and sighing all around. Meanwhile, in my little farm, I ate and drank to my heart's content and even managed to gain 5 pounds. I held on until the very last moment. A message on my phone announced the end of the heavy rain. The sun finally broke through the thick layers of dark clouds, casting golden sunlight across the land, revealing a glimmer of hope. I was originally loosening the soil for the corn in the field when I suddenly felt a strange sensation in my body, and my previously shrunken form abruptly returned to its normal size. I've returned to my regular size. The farm and house beneath my feet now appeared incredibly tiny. I opened the secret room with my phone and saw the house in complete disarray. Strange, it seems only I have returned to normal. Everything else remains at its original size. Perhaps it's because there's some difference between the amplification system and the reduction system. After all, systems are inherently quite mysterious. I stood by the floor-to-ceiling window, watching the survivors run out of their homes, shouting at the sky. I also shouted at the sky. This time, I finally survived.